everybody. Good morning, Councilwoman. Good morning, fellow members.
And I'll also say good morning again, Linda Bradley. Thank you.
So on the phone, Madam Secretary, we have Shamika, myself, Anastasia, Linda, Councilwoman, and Tanisha. And I can't quite see. I know you were looking to see if we had quorum.
Yes, Madam Chair, we have quorum. Can you hear me, Madam Chair?
I can't tell who's in the room. I hear you now. I can't see who's in the room. I'm sorry.
So, Madam Chair, in the room, we have Commissioner Lita Wills, we have our attorney present, and myself. And we do have quorum, Madam Chair.
Okay, great. Good morning, Ibukun.
Good morning.
Thanks.
TV20 is not logged in yet.
Okay.
So meeting is not yet streaming.
Okay, you guys let us know. We're ready to go whenever you are.
Do we want to wait for TV20 to start streaming?
You don't.
Yes, that would be good.
So it's totally up to the commission how they want to do it, but you don't have to because we gave notice of over the 12 hours that it was going to be in this room. And it's a combined virtual, so legally it's up to the commission.
So, Madam Chair, if you would like to start now and Zoom can get in, like, can join us, that's fine. For our attorney,
Okay.
makes our
That's fine. I want to be respectful of everyone's time.
Thank you.
I'm gonna read the stat. I'll start with, we good to go?
Yep.
Yes,
Okay.
I
ma'am.
was just gonna ask is the Zoom at least recorded so we can at least put it online if necessary, or no?
I can start a recording.
All right, thank you.
Recording now.
Thanks. Okay.
Recording in progress.
Thank you. I'll start with the standard language and then we'll introduce ourselves online. I see Shadonna Griffin has joined us externally and maybe a couple others. In compliance with notification requirements of Ohio's open meeting law and section 101.021 of the codified ordinances of Cleveland, Ohio, 1976, notice of this meeting has been publicly posted. The boards and commissions of the city of Cleveland conduct its meetings according to Robert's Rules of Order, and actions during the meeting will be taken by voice vote. Abstentions from any vote due to a conflict of interest should be stated for the record prior to taking any vote. In order to ensure that everyone participating in the meeting has the opportunity to be heard, we ask that virtual attendees use the raise your hand feature. The raise your hand feature can be found at the top right of the screen on the desktop or on the bottom of the screen in the mobile version. Please wait for the chair or facilitator to recognize you and be sure to select unmute and announce yourself before you speak. When finished speaking, please lower your hand by clicking the raise hand icon and mute your microphone. We will also be utilizing the chat feature to communicate with participants. The chat feature can be activated by clicking the chat button located on the top right of the Microsoft Teams screens or on the bottom of the Zoom. Okay. So with that, would you call the roll, Madam Secretary?
Yes, Madam Chair. Commissioner Catherine Hall.
Here.
Commissioner Dr. Linda Bradley.
Present here.
Commissioner Tanisha Fair, please.
Here, good morning.
Great. Commissioner Councilwoman Stephanie House Jones.
Present.
Commissioner Shamika Jones Taylor.
Present.
Commissioner Damiana Willis.
Present.
Commissioner Leader Marie Fields. Here. And Commissioner Eugenia Cash, present. Madam Chair, we have quorum, and it is 9:05 a.m.
Okay. Thank you. We have some additional guests online. If you are joining us for our meeting, if you don't mind introducing yourself and saying hello.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Shadonna Griffin, and it's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you. Welcome. Anyone else joining us?
Good morning, Madam Chair. We also have Commissioner, Reverend Dr. Lisa Goods as.
Awesome. Good morning, Reverend Goods.
Good morning.
Okay. So our first order of business is to approve the minutes of both of our October, December, and January meetings. You all have received those previously. I'm gonna ask, are there any corrections to any of those that haven't already been stipulated? Point of order, Madam Secretary, should we approve these one at a time?
Yes, please.
Okay. So for the October minutes, may I have a motion to accept the October 2024 minutes?
So moved.
Second. Can you identify yourself so we have it for the minutes? Who moved?
Dr. Goods.
Thank you. Who second?
Jones Taylor, second.
Okay. Any abstentions? Any nays? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Those minutes are approved. I need a motion to accept the December 2024 minutes.
Eugenia Cash make a motion to approve the December minutes.
Second, Dr. Goods.
Thank you. Any abstentions? Any nays? All in favor? Signify.
Aye.
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 Awesome. I need a motion to accept the January meeting minutes.
Leader Wells, so moved.
Awesome. May I have a second?
Eugenia Cash, second.
Any abstentions? Any nays? All in favor signifies by saying aye.
Aye.
Awesome. All the minutes have been approved. At this point, we wanted to special shout out to the secretary and also to Ibukun for all the hard work you did to assist us in pulling off the Project Noir presentation and then ensuring that we have been set up for the meetings in addition to this one. So thank you, ladies, very much for all of your hard work. It doesn't go unnoticed, and we certainly do appreciate you. At this point, we wanted to have an opportunity to review the Project Noir presentation and just have an open discussion about that and talk about next steps or what we learned, what we think, if you all are in agreement with that. I think, Madam Secretary, you have the count of how many attendees we ultimately ended up having.
Madam Chair, when I counted our attendance sheets, we had 107 individuals in attendance at our meeting adjourned at 6:52.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Does that include online and in person?
I counted
That was the sign up sheet. Those were the in-persons. I think I had asked Channel 20 if they could give us the number of those that actually joined us online as well. I'll circle back with that one. Just in terms of I would love to give every commissioner an opportunity to talk about the pros and cons of the event and then what you thought. And then you'll see, we'll get to next steps after we have the conversation, if you don't mind. Anybody want to start?
I can start.
Okay.
In terms of the report itself, I found it sad information, but very informative. I think they grew and they talked about how they grew upon their qualitative and their quantitative data. And I think that bringing actual people experiences to the data is really important because it puts some color around it. And so I really appreciated it. I also appreciated the format in which they drilled down on themes that they discovered in the 3 areas, and some consistencies in how it related to what they found the first time and how it was different from what they found in their first study. And in terms of what we do next, I think it's, oh, well, we said just we won't talk about what we do next, but those were my key findings. In terms of the event, I was really excited about all of the people, and especially the young girls that came and were willing to share at the table their experiences and be vulnerable. And so I look forward to what we will do. I know Project Noir is going to be at the City Club very soon to present their data, and I found that interesting.
Others?
For me, it was not anything surprising, actually. It was what I expected. It was good to hear the actual experiences of women. I think it's important to look at the call to action that they put forward as we begin to shape our work. It was good. We had good attendance and opportunities for us to connect with women and women to connect with each other.
Thank you, Dr.
Oh,
No, go ahead,
Yeah.
Madam State.
oh, sorry, y'all. I'm sick, so my voice is. Sorry if you have trouble hearing me. I thought it was a lovely time at the beginning of just like getting to know people. Like I really love the networking time we had to just like, get to know more people and, build more connections. The data, I agree with the other commissioner was not surprising, but I thought it was like a great point to like momentum build again to, like have more of a captive audience to hopefully continue to build from here to continue to break down the silos and bring more camaraderie amongst Black women. So I thought it was amazing.
And my comment would be, I too wasn't surprised by the data. Just piggybacking on Reverend Goods, I do think the call to action is something that we need to consider as we do our work. I've since had a conversation with them, and because we are the Commission of Women and Girls for the City of Cleveland, I'm trying to work with them to see if how they can identify the data based on those that responded from the greater Cleveland area itself.
So for me, Madam Chair, I really enjoyed the synergy in the room as well as the energy. In piggybacking on everyone else, it was not surprising information, but as always, we look at numbers and we look at data. So it was really pivotal to hear the narratives and the story, because a shared individual, a number is a person, and their story and narrative is so much more expanded than that number. And so I really enjoyed the synergy. I enjoyed the energy. The young ladies that were at the table, they were so in tune and they felt wonderful. I spoke to a couple of young ladies afterwards, And just the fact that we had them sitting at the table
Yeah.
was monumental for them. I mean, they felt empowered, they felt that they were actually a part of the conversation, and that is exactly what we are trying to do, is to ensure that our community is inclusive and supportive of what we're doing on their behalf. And so I felt that it was great. They were excited that we were going to be having an event coming up in March that they could be a part of, and so I felt that that was very important too. Also, a couple of the individuals made note that we had council members in the room, and as I shared with the girl Joy Johnson, and we had my sword or not. Then we had our bookends, our councilwomen were our bookends. Then we had Commissioner Councilwoman Housing and Councilwoman Gray were our bookends, and the commissioner support us. And she was very intrigued by it. And so I just felt that it was a great meeting, a great opportunity to, as you say, connect and appreciate the synergy.
Anyone else want to weigh in?
Hi, I'm sorry, I'm trying to find the raise your hand button. It's Linda Bradley. And unfortunately, I couldn't attend. And I'm so happy to hear these positive outcomes. I think since this occurred, there's so much has happened in our country. And that while I'd like to look at the vision of those women and the things that came out of it, you know, this cannot be static because of what's happening now in the US with our new president and all this stuff. So I just want to keep everything mindful because there's a lot of things going on, being underfunded, lack of funding, loss of jobs, blah, 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 that we all know about. So let's keep this meeting in perspective of what's continuing to happen in our country and make sure that we address newer things that also may be impacting women of color. So I just want to mention that. Let us just think broadly and continuously about this.
Great point. Anyone else? Okay, so then to our next steps, what will be our follow-up, or what do we need to do as it relates to the presentation and what we promise people? I know that we just need to make sure that we promised a few things when people attended the meeting. We promised that we would be in touch with them, that we would provide an opportunity for them to sign up for subcommittees and a number of other things, and that the presentation would be on Channel 20. So I just wanted us to kind of run through those. I know that several of you are working on specifics of the lists that are listed here. So I just kind of wanted us to talk through those. Has the presentation been uplifted to Channel 20 and our website?
Not as of yet, Madam Chair.
Okay. Can we follow up with them and make sure that they do that next week if possible?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And then that would be on our website. And then if it's going to air on television at all, on Channel 20, if we could put it in the rotation to air, if you would let us know when that happens.
Yes, Madam Chair.
Okay. And I know, Councilwoman, you had talked about facilitating a listserv. Can you kind of respond to that?
Yeah, so we put together the list, but based on those numbers, I need to go back over and just to make sure we capture all the names that are on the list because my office and some of our high school interns put it all together, and then we were working with IT to see if we can, how we can go about establishing a listserv. Because again, one of the things we want to do is to make sure that we are able to get in a very regular routine of communicating out through an email distribution. So you can go get the update. Here you go, Mike.
So I'm still working with
the administration to get an official city listserv. But in the meantime, I'm going to input one into the email that I have access to and put the information that also the house is entering conflict. So that is in the ordinance.
Okay. And primarily if we can, and if a couple of you can volunteer to work with me and Ibukun to, what the listserv we want to do is make sure that we're communicating with the individuals who attended our sessions, in addition to others who have had an interest in the work that we are doing. We definitely want to reach out to them as soon as possible and communicate a thanks and encourage them to stay involved. And we want to provide them with an opportunity to communicate what subcommittees they would like to work on.
I volunteered to help out with that.
Okay.
Putting out messages and stuff. So I could connect with you after this meeting to figure out what it's like.
Yeah, you and I can touch base. Is there anyone else that wants to work with us in Ibukun on this particular? Okay, we'll get it started. And then the message, we will run the message by you before we upload it. Is that good?
Madam Chair, can I just say that as we continue to do these meetings, that I think it's important that we do the follow-ups and thank yous in a more timely basis. So within a week to 2 weeks, we should have had this. It's over a month since this meeting. So to say that thank you for coming is pretty late. And so when we make those commitments, we also need to set for ourselves a timeline for doing the follow-up.
Absolutely. And we have been, the reason that the councilwoman kind of took it over was what we're learning through this whole process is we think that we have city resources available to us, and that's not so much. So we, as a backup, are now building our own. In addition to the councilwoman is kind of taking upon herself, and I don't want to speak out of turn for you, is to find a dedicated person to kind of help us with some of these that is their sole responsibility. And we're gonna spend a little bit of time talking about communication and what better ways we can communicate. So not to make any excuses, we've gone internally, and the two people that support us, they have regular jobs to do and they work very, very hard. And so we know that we need a dedicated person of our own that we can direct to do some of this. But thanks for your comments, Reverend. So we'll get our messaging together and we'll make sure to communicate with the people that are on our list in the coming week. And I agree with you.
Also, I have to have Madam Chair, I'm so appreciative of Councilwoman House assisting us because, as you know, we had a breach here at City Hall, and so it's really kind of we just have to take baby steps in creating our serve and articulating how that is going to work in the process. It is very tedious and very complicated, and just being transparent. So, Councilwoman, Commissioner Stephanie.
Yes.
Thank you.
And I only see that getting more difficult because currently the court system is under a breach. And they've been closed for the last 3 days. So the cyber stuff is definitely, we were off and running and off to a good start. And then the cyber stuff started to happen, and that kind of put a big halt in what we were doing. But we're trying to work through ways of getting around some of that. Do I miss anything, Councilwoman? Okay. So we will make sure that the presentation's on Channel 20, complete the listserv, develop a communication with attendees by next week, We'll put on there the descriptions of the subcommittees and the sign-ups. And also, I wanted to ask all of our commissioners to go back to our website. Every time I go in to search our website, some of the stuff that we previously had comes up in different ways. So if everyone could take a look at the website by Monday, if you find anything that's out of order, or you went to search it a specific way and you couldn't find it, if you could capture that link at the top and send it to me, then we'll have IT kind of fix the bugs that are starting to show up post breach.
That sounds good.
Okay. And then, as I already mentioned, I'm having Enlightened Solutions pull together their data from the Cleveland audience, and also want to have a conversation with the subcommittees around what is their call to action and how that might play into the work that we're doing. They are definitely interested in continuing to work with us and be a resource to us, as are a number of other people who are doing work around Black women. So we want to make sure that we capture that information. If you would bear with me as we're talking about communicating with the general public, I would like us to, just like we did a checklist for our events, just to ensure that we're communicating properly and using all the channels available to us. I would like, and I'm going to take notes on this, talk about where we should be communicating with folks. So our internal sources are our website and Channel 20. Want to list some of the external sites as well. What are those communication channels that you are utilizing for your organizations that tend to ensure that the message gets out in a timely, broad manner?
Social media. And so whatever social media platforms are available to us is a good place to do that. And in that, also tagging or hitting specific community related groups that might be associated, because when you just post on our sites, that means that you are waiting for people to search our sites. But when you proactively push out to related type of organizations, community organizations, through social media, then you are able to then really target those persons that you wish to get the information.
Okay.
Are we able to? I think this was addressed before a few months ago, but do we have to use put our messaging through the city's Instagram, or are we able to create our own Instagram for the commission?
We're looking at creating our own social media platform.
Okay.
But we'll need to get approval. So the plan for this is I'm making the list. Then we will check with our lawyer and internal media public relations people on what we have access to do for ourselves.
Because if we make social media, I don't mind managing communications on those platforms as well as an email.
Okay. And just to be clear, because all of us use different ones, let's make a note of the ones we're talking about. I've heard Instagram,
Facebook, Twitter's kind of in an interesting place, but Twitter.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not. Many people are not doing Twitter based upon the political climate. But there is Blue Sky, there is Threads, so.
What do people think about LinkedIn?
I'm sorry, I heard somebody ask a question.
I was saying, what do people think about LinkedIn?
I think that's an excellent. And I'm asking the question because we just kind of throw out social media, but I want to know the ones you use because we represent different generations here. That's going to give us a wide span of what other generations other than our own are utilizing. So I heard Instagram, Facebook, Twitter with a question mark, Blue Sky, Threads, LinkedIn. Have I missed any others?
TikTok.
Okay. And to
That's
that point, Channel 20, the team members on Channel 20 have indicated that we could videotape kind of snippets of the commissioners to communicate messages. So I'm going to add that to our list.
Madam Chair, I know there are a couple of people, we have guests that are online and we have a person that's in the room. And so maybe, I don't know if this is our time, but maybe I'll see if there are some suggestions they have of ways that we could communicate to the general public.
Yes, that would be great.
If they wanted to drop it in the chat so we can at least have it on record.
Okay, thank you. The other piece is, are there any radio platforms or non-traditional television platforms?
Perhaps like I think it's WVOU, the one on Burtonville Car.
WVOU.
I may be saying it incorrectly, but I know it's Burtonville's Car radio platform.
Yeah, WOVU, and
Yes.
they're I know we can get on air with Jay Williams if we wanted to promote something as well.
Mm.
Okay. That's great. And I think just in general, when we talked about communicating, probably a listserv of female organizations that provide services for Black women, maybe taking some of those from the resource list that we had on our site, so that as we're, for instance, having the March event, we could have one listserv just that we send that posting out to, and then they could also share it with their communities. Any others that we might be missing? Thanks, ladies. This is very helpful. I'll type this out and get it to you, Madam Secretary. Okay. And so the next thing we had on our event, so we had attempted to put together a retreat, and with February being a short month, and then all of the things that people were responding to post election, we weren't able to pull it off. It's been a lot going on in a short period of time, and it's impacting a number of you in terms of responding to what's going on at the federal level. So we just decided to push that back. And we have a March event that's coming up next. So if our subcommittee can give a report on that and tell us where we are and what we need to do in terms of offering assistance as commissioners, that would be great.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. So our date, as we curated, is like a pop-up meetup on Saturday, March 29th. It was, I know that Commissioner Wills kind of set out the notes last month about the ideas of how we wanted to flow, and basically we envisioned it as like two different sessions, so no one is committed there the whole time, but like from a 10 to 12 session and a 12 to 2 session. And the idea would be that we would have a general welcome and introductions scheduled for 15 minutes. We had networking activities where this idea is that groups of 4 to 5 would actually connect with one another and be able to have conversations based on the guided network questions we presented. The first one, for the first networking activity in the groups, the 2 questions were, what brought you here today? What is the first action you would take to improve the lives of Black women and girls in Cleveland, and allow individuals to be able to engage with one another? Because one of the things we find is that a lot of times we have larger group sessions and people just sit there and they're talked to. And if we're talking about a pop-in, we really want to give facilitate an opportunity for people to talk with one another, right? And see what arises from that, and have a way for the participants to give their input, and then have it fed back to us. From there, just had a kind of a little break from that activity where our subcommittees would literally give a 2 to 3 minute overview of what the subcommittees are, since we have a captive audience, for them people to make a determination if they would want to join, connect from there. And then after that, go right back into the networking activities with another group of 4 to 5, or we can keep the same group that the attendees are having, focusing on the questions. Oh, no, that was, it's the same questions. Something was wrong here. Maybe up there, bro. Oh, okay. Oh, no, period. The networking, the second question was, what brings you joy as a Black woman or girl? And what is the first action the city of Cleveland should take to improve the lives of Black women and girls? Again, kind of, a lot of times we thought, well, we know a lot of the stuff that we talk about that focuses on the challenges or the barriers, and it would be interesting to hear in the context of women and girls in Cleveland of what brings us joy. Because I think it's a very important to highlight the, just things that offer some relief, in this time. And then to hear, just hear from the attendees of how we need to focus, because again, when we know there are so many things we need to do, we need to begin to start to focus at this juncture, and getting a real insight and input from the attendees go a long way. From there, having conversations about who's missing, what's missing and who's missing as far as agenda items or people or organizations. We hope this is an opportunity that there will be a multitude of varying people, and we know there's always somebody we don't know, right? And this will provide an opportunity to do that. And then we would like to have like a crowd polling question that would be posed to everyone, where hopefully for those who are not tech savvy, well, no, but we're trying to make it so it's like the phone where you can just respond by text message. I know people don't say that, but listen, we're gonna try and we're gonna figure it out. We're trying to do, because there are like platforms where literally you can, text the number and then put 1 for age, 2 for, that type of thing. Right. We had a couple of polling questions, or you could put in your response. There were 6 questions that we wanted to ask. Where's a specific place where you would feel safe? In one word, what's your dream for Black women and girls? What does support look like for you? After today, what is one thing you will do more of to support Black women and girls? We asked about who's missing from the commission and what topic is missing. And so I talked a little bit about that, but we wanted to have that in kind of like a QR code or something, so that we can easily capture the information based on the attendees. And the reason why we think this is important is because when we use paper, then it creates another layer of work that somebody then will have to input. And a lot of times based on capacity, we do not have that capacity, you know, so this is what our thoughts of our initial brainstorm, but we wanted to make sure commission members kind of have that. And that would be the break. People would go on, that first group would leave, and then we would do the same thing for people that came at the 12 o'clock.
And that, Councilwoman, Shadonna Griffin from, in our chat suggested 2 platforms that she says are good to use. One is called Poll Everywhere, and the other is Mentimeter, Mentimeter. She said both are great platforms for responses from the audience. Thank you for suggesting those. We'll take a look at them.
Madam Chair, I don't know if you see that Commissioner Linda has her hand taken.
Oh, okay, thank you. Commissioner, I was looking at chat, so I didn't see the hand. Commissioner
Can you hear me?
Bradley?
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Did you? Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Whoops. Okay. I love all of the questions. And I may have this, maybe I didn't listen carefully, and it may mean the same thing. One question I like to ask people, and the way I phrase it, is if you had the magic wand, what would you want to do? And the magic wand means there are no restrictions. You have money, you have education, you have the ability to do anything. Because sometimes we think in the 4 boxes, the 4 corners in which we live. And I think to get to a broader answer, meaning just dream the impossible. And again, the question I'd like to see is, if you had the magic wand, what would you want to do? What should the city accomplish? You know, whatever it is, but putting it where someone's going to say, oh, we can't do this because there's no money, we can't, but just take away any potential thoughts and just be as open as possible when thinking and formulating your responses. So that's all. I would just potentially frame it in that way. And I'll lower my hand. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions, comments, responses? Given the event is in March, Councilwoman, so we've already talked about communication and communicating and advertising what we're doing. So we've got that covered. Are there other resources that your subcommittee needs help on in terms of executing the event?
Yeah. So I think that's, so I guess in creating a list of to-dos, I would request from each commission member, preferably over the next week, if we can work to get a 30-second like promo invitation to Cleveland's Black women and girls to come and join us on March 29th. By tomorrow, we will send you all a little prompt, but you can remix it. And then I need to, we'll connect with TV20 to figure out, or who's the best way, or what's the best way to get the message recorded so that we can then use that as a visual to then start promoting. Separately, if we can each commit, if you are using social media, to make sure that we post the flyer. I know it is coming out. I'm not sure where we are with that, but preferably it's available tomorrow. Yeah, hopefully, or Monday at the latest. But once we get the flyer, that we can get all commission members to start promoting it. Separately, when we think about the setup, that is a thing where we are going to need a group of individuals and or connection points to help people just with the general setup. And I may just, I think I'm gonna work with the school to see if we can get one of the student groups to help us over at Gary Morgan School, which I'm helpful for that. So if there are any connections in that regards for setup, that would be helpful. The other thing is thinking through what type of like refreshments or something like that, because we need to communicate that to finance in order to get it ordered. This is a new process, so we gotta figure it out. So if there are some suggestions, we need those in short order by next week, so that we can order it. And then the kind of check-in registration, there we have to do a way of creating it, which I believe is on the flyer, and sign it, yeah. And so we just need to make sure that is promoted and just lift it up and see what we come up with.
Question, we're calling it events and pop in, so do we have an actual name for the event? Think we should.
We just had to be, I mean, no.
Okay.
I mean, no, that's not, yeah, if that's one of the things of, let's get with the naming right now. We can do it on the spot. Anybody has any ideas, suggestions? And that's one of the reasons we had sent the information out, hoping that we can get some input, but so.
And then calling it the Black Girls Meetup.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Black Women and Girls Meetup.
You can do that, yeah, just that works. I'm just saying, we need to have something, because if there is no name for it, they kind of.
A hook, yeah.
You need to be able to say it is X, Y, Z. So like Black Women Girls Meetup, that's what it is.
And then a tagline of what that means. You know, so people can know what to expect when they get there. Just something short and sweet.
I think with having that and just saying sponsored by the Commission on Black Women and Girls, and then the details are in the flyer and in our recorded message.
Okay.
I think we're kind of short on time to really come up with cute taglines and all of that, but I did think that having a name was important.
And it would, for me, Councilwoman and team that's working on this, before we do the the quick messages, if you tell us what you want to communicate, that would be helpful. What are those, the kind of the reason? I like the Black Women and Girl Meetup. But if you can articulate what you want us to say and communicate that with us, that would be good. I mean, we'll put our own spin on it, but we don't want to miss the points that you want us to make.
Yeah, that will be sent tomorrow.
Okay, thank you. Then another, so I'm monitoring the chat. Another tool that came up is whiteboard. The whiteboard tool in Canva is a good way to capture feedback. So I'm making a note of all these. Okay. Anything else? Any other questions on our March event? And we've confirmed Garrett Morgan School, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And so in terms of commitment time for the commissioners, what time would you like us there? Do you want to get back to us, or should we just put a hold on the entire day?
Yeah, ideally for commission members, if we can get there no later than 9, just again to make sure we are all on the pages. Yeah, it's a 1 hour set and a 1 hour breakdown. So
okay. And I'm asking that so people can make the commitment, and just plan for it in advance. So this again is an all hands on deck kind of activity for us. And if you can't make it, let's have a conversation about how you might support it. But we would really love to have all the commissioners be present to support on this particular event. Then so we in terms of a time, so let me just address the retreat. We're coming up with an additional date for the retreat. The purpose of the retreat is to do some organizing about the work we're going to continue to do this year. We had originally set aside, our Secretary Eugenia was instrumental in getting us some space at the new MLK library. And so we'll continue once we pick a date to have it there. They were very excited about our possibility of coming there, and they were reasonable in terms of, everything that we would need as state-of-the-art communication vehicles to do some of our work. So that's our thinking. And we wanted to have some time to talk about what we want to work on the rest of the year, where we're going to have our meetings in the community versus those at City Hall, and then talk about three or four objectives of each of the subcommittees in terms of the work for 2025. So we'll get back to that, but just at least wanted to put it on the radar and let you know what we have been thinking. And we came up with those objectives based on some feedback that we had gotten from several of you. Okay. At this time, we'd like to do if you have a subcommittee report, we can weigh in on that. Anything and I know many of you have been working with the councilwoman and others on this particular event. And so if you don't have a report, that's okay. Economic development, anything to report at this time? Education?
Not at this time, Madam Chair.
Okay. Healthcare?
Not at this time, Dr. I will reach out to you.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Dr. Linda, to Dr. else.
Okay.
I didn't hear what you said.
So, Dr. Bradley, you and you.
Out to you.
It's a little distant. I think I heard someone's going to reach out to me. Is that what I heard?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes,
no problem. Okay.
Work.
Okay. Thank you.
Justice.
Okay. I also just want to make sure I sent someone my new email address. I just want to make sure I can put it in the chat and then make sure that that's been updated. Phone number is the same, but my email is different. So I'll do that. But you guys can keep going. I just heard my name. I didn't hear the other part. Thank you.
So we're having the subcommittee reports if we have one. You are on the healthcare committee, obviously.
Yeah.
And so we just asked, so your other participants will be reaching out to you to have a meeting to talk about it.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
And then you also have a city email address that should be checked. So, but we've gotten your new personal email, but we all have a city email address as well.
Okay.
How to access that. Justice and civil rights.
I did not have an updated meeting, but I would like to follow up on the suggestions that we brought forward before, which was our backing of the Tanisha's law and also looking at, we had conversation at the last meeting about the backing of the equal pay law, which I think, and I'm wondering if Councilwoman House Jones can give us updates on that. Because when we look at the Project Noir report, those are areas that are defined as calls to action. And also in light of all that is going on in this current administration, it is really important that our voice be heard. I know there is also a lot of frustration. I know we know on the inside all of the red tape that we have to go through to get things done. But in the same aspect, I think it's important that even if we are just putting out statements that is backing what City Council is doing, backing these statements from one of our own members, that it is impactful in our quest to move Black women forward.
I agree.
So as an inquirer, Chair Hall, how would we like to, again, and that's one of the things of coming up with the process, right? So if commission members, like, we would like the commission to take a position on something, I think this is one of the things we're really trying to, we cannot let the process stop because a lot of things are happening, but we, in a very efficient way, have to be able, when a group or, you know, a group, because it might be community members that would like us to make a decision or a position on something, of really trying to come up with a process where it can be presented. Maybe we talk about it and then make a decision. So then, I guess based on our committee structure, the committees then will have an opportunity to say, based on our research, we say yay or nay, it's not appropriate, and then bring it to the commission for the commission then to make a decision. I think that could be a flow for us, so that when entities or issues are brought up, they're just not lingering. We could, make a decision and then go from there. And then being able to map out the plan of what does it mean to have a commission stamp of approval. And I think maybe that's one of the things where, as we look at our retreat, but to be able to get our
voice out in a quick manner.
And so that it is routine, everyone knows it, no one is caught off surprise, and we just make sure that we are all in alignment based on what the commission, that action the commission.
Absolutely, and I just added that to our agenda as well.
I think I agree with what Councilwoman House Jones said as far as the process of. I do think the issue about the Tanisha's Law came from one of our committees. So it was actually in line with that process, and we did have discussion about it, but then it just sat and nothing done with it. And so what is our follow through when something comes from committee? Because what will happen is our committees will become frustrated if we are doing research and doing work and then nothing gets done. At the same time, the public has expectations to hear something from us as well. So that I think that's important for us to name and to try to move forward. The other thing I will say is, as Councilwoman just mentioned, we need to be able to find ways to do that in a more efficient manner, that it does not have to wait another month sometimes for a meeting, because at the rate that things are happening in our nation today and the way that it will adversely affect Black women at the extreme of everything, it is imperative that we are able to be a little more nimble in our approach.
And so this is the other thing of really trying to work through with the requirements of like 24-hour notices, if we make decisions, like I think we really need to, we're gonna have to work with the law team to really figure out, because we do have some way of having, virtual components and things of that nature. We just gonna need a little time to figure out how we do that. So we're gonna partner with you in, I guess, the request, Madam Chair, to our Department of Law staff
I would
to help draft a strategy to think through how can we, in an efficient way, understanding that a month may be too late based on the vastness of decisions. What are ways and options that we can be a bit more nimble in communicating, or just making some decisions where there may be the email, meetup connection. If like the chair, in some places where the chair will put out, this is a request, can we have in 24 hours commission members to weigh in, that type of stuff. If you can research.
Absolutely.
That would be very helpful.
And Reverend Good, someone else talking, I'm sorry.
This is Patty. I was making notes to that effect, to Madam Chair, to Councilwoman, for that specifically, and as Dr. Reverend Good is talking about, but this is it is the commission that speaks, so it has to be the full commission, and the notice under our own code 101.021D, it is a 12-hour notice for a special meeting, any meeting, and there is the authority for the chair to call a special meeting under chapter 162.02B. So there is a special meeting may be called by the chairperson at the chairperson's discretion. So you already have that power to do that, but you do have to act as the body. So you can, and I agree to make there, once you come up with an efficient process, that the chairwoman has been working on rules, you can put that in rules as well.
Yeah, that's excuse me, Madam Chair, Patty, what I was saying is it's not necessarily, because technically it may not be a meeting per se, but because it's activated, right, if a question is posed, right, is this an action we want to take, and the commission will have a day to respond to it? How then does the law see that? Because technically it is a meeting, even though we're not technically all there at the same time. That's what I'm trying to. That's what I'm asking a question about.
Madam Chair,
So I'm curious.
but I didn't, so I'll just have to double check so that we don't fall in violation of the state exact. So,
right. See, that's what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
And so I don't know I just don't know how that, again, this is why I'm asking for guidance of how do we get it done, not
within the rules and regulations.
Structure and us finding ways and ideas and strategies for us to get it done. That's the request.
So I'm curious, in other organizations, I'm in like a group meet, right? Tech screen. And so when something comes up, we all weigh in on that particular text stream. Is that something we're prohibited from doing?
Yes, we are prohibited doing.
Yeah.
Yes,
we are.
Yes, Vice Chair Jones Taylor, we are prohibited from doing that because of the open meeting laws. Anytime we have a quorum, it is a public meeting. And so that's what we just need to identify ways we can get it done. And that's why I'm putting the request out so that we can actually formalize it and not inadvertently put ourselves, at risk for
in jeopardy. Got it. Okay, got it.
And circling back to Reverend Goods, we already have 2 things on the agenda, and they've come out of the city. So wondering if we write a statement of support for both Tanisha's law and the funding law, that we can do, if we could take a vote now to create a statement of support for that. So that we don't lose
you said
the moment.
funding, did you mean the equal pay?
Right.
Okay.
So I'd like to take, and our lawyer can give us guidance. I'd like to take a vote on each of those items individually in terms of providing a statement of support. And then we can work to craft that message that then gets sent by everyone before we submit it.
Madam Chair, Mrs. Patty, you absolutely have that right to do those motions, and you can word it as however you'd like. The Black Women and Girls Commission hereby supports whatever strong language you'd like to use, and then you do a second and go ahead and move forward. That's absolutely appropriate.
But
Okay.
also ensure that everyone is very clear and understanding about Tanisha's law as well as first you said the second one was equal pay.
Pay equity and transparency.
Jesus.
So would that be the pleasure of the commission today? Any abstentions from that, or? Because I don't, like, as you mentioned.
Councilwoman, can you give us an update on where those stand right now?
Okay, sure. So as we, well, in regards to Tanisha's law, what is being proposed as Tanisha's law is for the city of Cleveland to, one, define alternative ways to respond to crisis outside of policing. That's basically what that would do, as well as creating a department of community crisis response here in the city of Cleveland, ensuring that individuals who find themselves in crisis will get the necessary support and not necessarily be criminalized during that time. Hence, if people are not aware, unfortunately, Miss Tanisha Law in 2014 tragically lost her life as a response to, family members reaching out to during a mental health crisis, and that ended up with her losing her life. So there's been a lot of work across the country about co-response, care response, alternative, and we're also trying to incorporate like alternative responses, because what is today might not be in the future, and we want to keep open what is yet to come, and creating a division department that specifically looks at that when we understand what happens in our criminal justice system. And so that's the reason why the policy is being presented. Separately, when we think around our Pay Equity and Transparency Act, this is a policy specifically that will remove the requirement for in government, but also businesses that have 15 or more employees to remove the requirement to ask you what you previously paid. And if there's a place where women and women, those who are working, find that there is a pay difference of or you feel that there's a difference from yourself and someone else, you now have a formal process to file a complaint with our Fair Wage Board for then an investigation to be done in some sort or the other to really work in alignment where it's all under the umbrella of equal pay, to ensure that we are working to close the gaps between women and men in our society. And this is a policy solution that will afford us that opportunity to do that. Where the status is of it, again, both policies have been introduced. They have not been assigned to a committee as of yet. On the Tanisha's Law, we have been doing a lot of work specifically as it relates to the consent decree, getting other people's entities. And so we are, now that the Community Police Commission is now fully commissions are set, we are next going to present the policy there to get feedback there. We also are getting the feedback from our EMS dispatch in particular, their feedback. We recently got a notice from the federal Monmouth Department of Justice because there was some back and forth going on, but we just got an update, and this was like a 7-month back and forth. So we're really excited to be able to move forward with that in hopes that within the next 2
I'm gonna say 2 months, after this budget process is done, that we can actually give hearings. And so once hearings happen, depending on the pleasure of the commission, we can then let you all know just the process when they will be introducing.
Yeah, I think it's, thank you so much, Commissioner. I think it is important that we, first of all, do make a statement, but also that we stay in the loop on how this is progressing so that if at all possible, and our legal team can tell us what, if there's any problem with this, but that some of us can actually be present if there are press conferences and so forth, that we are also represented at the table. The other thing that I will say about Tanisha's law, that this is in line with what the county is also doing, because the county is working with the centers to build a crisis crisis intervention center, and that is actively underway. And so how we are able to move this forward and in a timely manner lines up with those objectives for the overall county.
And also, Madam Chair, not only in looking at Tanisha's law, but after that incident occurred, I know that CRT training for the Adamsburg and Cuyahoga County was very instrumental in ensuring that they had CRT training for police officers, dispatch, and other entities, but it's on a voluntary basis. And in being a part of those trainings, the cultivation and work with Ms. Ballard at the Adamsburg during that time, when I served as the chair of the Adamsburg, it was voluntary. And so in looking at Tanisha's law, making CRT training to be mandatory and not voluntary, because the police officers that attended that training, they spoke volumes of how so much they did not know, how much it helped them, how much it made a difference, because they now were trained and cultivated and shown how to work with different populations of people. And so I think that when we look at supporting that, making sure that that different pieces are highlighted. Yes, you said county is very much involved, but also that the training and support that the officers get is critical. And I know they're working very hands-on with the administration of the police. But again, it was voluntary and not mandatory. And so we have to look at how it's framed in this presentation. So I just wanted to share that.
And just for clarification, the CRT training is crisis response team training.
Yes.
For those that might, yeah. I just want to make sure we.
Yes. There are other CRT.
And in the chat, I put a link to the, I did a little Google search and put an overview of Tanisha's law and also the Pay Equity Act in Cleveland. So is it the pleasure of the commission that we move forward with craft? Oh, sorry.
Just a clarifying question. So we would be issuing this in support as it works through the city's process. Got it. Okay.
Yes. Okay. Yes. So, and the, one of the purposes I see, and you may see others, as they move forward, these are things that support women. So Black women in particular, we want to have a voice on hand to say we support this work.
Agreed.
I think if it is the pleasure of the commission to vote to support, I'm putting my fellow committee members on the spot, but Commissioner Fair and Commissioner Wills, I think we can craft a statement that we can get to legal to review and then bring it forward to the rest of the commission.
Okay. And then I would like to have a vote so that we don't have to wait. If you get the statement, if we make a vote today on each of those and we agree with the statement, we won't have to wait for the meeting to submit that statement. Is that good?
Sounds great.
So moved.
Okay.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, awesome. Any abstentions? Any nays? Thank you. Additional committee reports. Do we have the membership and recruitment?
Yes, so membership and recruitment, I echo the sentiments of we want to get the train really moving. We have now upwards of 12 applications, mainly in 3 categories still: women representing higher ed, women representing labor, and then women in college. Those are the primary 3 we're receiving the apps for. And we were really intentional about what we said would be our process. So Commissioner Willis and I don't want to just say yay and nay. So we need that third person. We've got the rubric, we've got the interview questions ready. We want to be able to get back to everyone and really have this completed by our April meeting. And so we're hoping.
Yeah, and Dr. Bradley has agreed to be the third person on your committee.
Okay, so Dr. Bradley, we will, if you could share the best way to communicate with you via phone with myself. I can put my number in the chat. I'm fine with that. My number's everywhere. And then we'll set up a meeting with the 3 of us.
Okay.
So we can finish out our process.
Okay. And thank you for all your hard work. Any questions of that committee?
Just a comment. It has been brought up to me by community members a few times since the initial meeting we had at Shiloh, and then after this meeting, this most recent meeting with Project Noir, that one of the groups that we are missing is the voice of older women. And so how it first came up when we talked about older women in homelessness at our listening session. But it has come up and been brought to me by community members again. So as I know we have our set positions right now, but just as we think moving forward, I just bring back to the membership committee to just put on the agenda to think about.
I think that's a wonderful, so our categories, for instance, I think of a woman representing labor or a woman representing higher ed. We may be able to gain some seasoned women in those particular categories. We just have to be in contact with them. So maybe one of the things that I'm so sad is bittersweet because we've got an important matriculation event for the school, but Commissioner Willis will be there. We can intentionally encourage women who show up of a certain age category to apply for those particular positions if they meet those criteria. So I think that's a way that we can engage women at different levels, different age levels too. And it's just kind of seeking them out.
And then I think too, we have a broader opportunity with our subcommittees to make sure not only that senior population is represented, but I remember also the LGBTQ plus community was listed. But I think that's where we can also have an opportunity to do a wider net and a wider search. And as we're thinking about our March event, I was thinking about reaching out to some organizations for both the homeless and the LGBTQ plus community to make sure that they were aware and had transportation to Garrett Morgan to be part of those conversations.
And I just had a thought. Did the City of Cleveland Senior Day, has that passed or is it still coming up?
It's coming up on
Does anybody know?
It's coming up on to the chair, vice chair. The Senior Day is on May 21st of this year.
May 21st? Okay. Because that could be another good opportunity for us to have a presence.
Yeah, absolutely.
But someone can mark it. We got to figure out, identify which commission member would like to have a table, you know, and
that's May what?
May 21st.
Okay. Let's make sure that's in our minute.
Wednesday, May 21st.
I'm available and would love to have a table if if Councilwoman, if you could share who we would reach out to in the city, I'd love to go to Senior Day and have a presence there.
Yes, Iffy in my office will make sure that she gets, will follow up with you to figure out how we can ensure that the commission has a table for sign-ups.
Okay.
Madam
Thank you.
Chair, Councilwoman House, I will make sure that
Cool.
We didn't hear you.
Two
Madam
other
Secretary, we didn't hear you. Okay.
Yeah, no, two things. First of all, we clearly see Damiana Willis is a branded genius. Because she had put some stuff in the chat that we did not talk about, and I really want to go back. Whoever are you? You go scroll back up to her suggestions to get committee members so we can make a decision real quick on the, because somebody, Dr. Lisa was like, this is a whack. Y'all need to come up with a name. So that's what she was saying. She gave us the glorified, sanctified version, but she was saying our name was whack. But if we can, Commissioner Willis, can you just go over the suggestions that you made so that we can as a collective vote on it, and we're going to have an official name?
Okay, awesome. Because I was thinking about that too, Dr. Goods. I was like, we need something a little more jazzy to make people want to come. But I was thinking about the first one, Empowerment Echoes, and still with that tagline, a gathering of Black women and girls, or Empower Her, being that this Women History Month for March. So connect Black women and girls meetup, still have that tagline and the meetup in there, so they don't know exactly what they're coming to do. And then the last one I was thinking about, In Her Words, when you all were mentioning the questions and with the wand, and thinking about they're going to be sharing their thoughts and just having a different opportunity to come together and feel empowered in unity. So unity, empowered, powered by Black Women and Girls Commission. So that was kind of my thought, something that kind of jumps out at them, but still have that tagline in there. And the goal of what we're trying to do with the event, to empower, to provide unity, and for them to feel seen and heard.
They are all very powerful.
They're very, very good.
I do love the Empower Her Connect.
That's one. That's the one.
I do a lot of preach her in my work. So I love that.
Do we vote on it? What's the order?
So I move that we adopt the name Empower Her Connect, an open call to collaboration for Black women and girls.
Second.
Yeah.
Wait, does anybody else have any discussion? Okay, I just want to make sure. Robert's Rules of Order. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any abstentions? Any nays? So moved. Okay.
I'd also like to just elevate Ms. Shadonna Griffin for her suggestion in the chat as well. It was very similar to Damiana's.
Thank you. I miss.
What's that one at? I'm sorry. Because we know it.
Okay. Okay. Then
yeah, that was the Empower Her Connect Black Women and Girls Meetup. Okay, never mind. It's fine.
Oh,
do we have the name?
Empower and Elevate.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. And so public hearings and listening sessions haven't met because we've been doing the other committees have been working on the event that we mentioned in March. We're, as part of our deciding on our meeting dates, we'll come back and talk about which of those meetings should be held in the community and the like. but we have been doing a number of things that support listening communities and being out in the community. I'd like to report, the secretary and I were invited by Harry Boomer to participate in his online, he has an online show and we taped last week for that. I was also asked to support the Cavs on their promotion for Black women and girls. And at that, many of the honorees indicated that they wanted to be a part of the commission and the subcommittee. So I'll be sharing that information. And then I've also had a conversation with a couple of corporate leaders who have said that they're interested in discussing how they might put some financial support to the work that we're doing. The research committee.
No updates, Chair.
Okay. I think we've all been researching various things, and so we've reported out on that across the board. There've not been formal meetings, though there's been some work to have taken place. In terms of, let me see, I had to switch screens, sorry. So that was our subcommittee updates. We are working diligently. You all have provided some dates and we had to have some conversations with folks to see if we can have some synergy around some of the dates. So we're going to continue to work with that. Uba Kuhn and the secretary are working with me on that. We'll give you a list of proposed dates, and thanks for the feedback you've given us on the ones that we came up with initially. Anything that we need to follow up on old business?
I'd like to make a suggestion. I'd like to make a suggestion to set the date for the retreat now that we're all here together to make a decision. It would be on, ideally on a Saturday, since it would be an all-day thing. So in the next couple of Saturdays, are there any dates that?
Can you all pull out your calendars?
So are we looking in the month of March?
Should we do it on, I don't do March. I can do March.
I was just asking the
Yeah.
question.
No,
That's why I was.
So now that we've got plenty of work that we have agreed to be doing in March. Let's take a look at April.
Yes, no, I mean, you want a majority though.
Pardon?
Can we look, what do you, I mean, maybe we should just hear from every commission member of what does their schedule look like in March?
That's what we were. And do we need to make it on a Saturday? Are you guys open to doing an evening?
I will tell.
I'm open to
you
it.
that most of my evenings are unavailable. So as a pastor, that's when I am connecting with my people. So.
Okay. And hence you hear our dilemma trying to put together. And then in April, we have the holy holidays. So we know that. When is Easter this year?
Easter is the 20th. Holy Week is the 13th through the 19th. So.
How's April 5th? The first Saturday in April.
I'm available.
Saturday after the event, so we get two Saturdays in a row.
Pardon?
How about as well?
April 12th?
That's.
April 12th.
Councilwoman saying that's back-to-back Saturday, so that's the Saturday right after the event. What about the 12th, before the start of Holy Week?
I will not be free the
It was
12th.
said in the room that it is Passover, but does that affect, is there, I know we do want to be, when we are doing public events, sensitive, but is there anyone on the commission that would need to attend the retreat for whom that would be problematic. Are you saying that?
No, that's what I was saying, that just in case there was any problems. Okay, commission.
Could we make the 12th work for the morning of the 12th of April? Is anyone not available?
Okay, that means everybody gotta respond, y'all. I am available.
I'm available.
I'm available at this time also.
April 12th it is, Madam Chair.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thanks, Ibukun.
And just a note, it might be morning and afternoon. So,
Do you prefer morning? Not early morning, but like maybe 10 to 12 or 10 to 1, or you want to make it early?
Ibukun is saying we need more time, I think.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get a start time. So we're probably looking at 3 to.
If it's based on the library, libraries don't open until 10 o'clock.
right.
Yeah,
Okay.
I was gonna say, yeah, so it'd be like 10 to 3
10 to
or
2.
10 to 2:30.
Let's just block off, if you would, 10 to 2 on that date right now. I'm putting it in my calendar. Thank you. Any new business?
I was gonna ask, are we gonna wait for next meeting to just discuss like if the commission was,
No, go ahead.
oh,
I'm-
oh yeah, just for like since my term is up, like what that looks like, or should I wait till next meeting?
I was gonna raise that at the end. So, what we've learned is that according to our board schedule, Anastasia had a 1-year term that would be up in February. And so we've talked to legal, and for consistency's sake, we're gonna take the appropriate steps to, with your permission, reappoint her. So we'll find out what we need to do for that.
That will come from Mayor Bibb. That would have to come from the
I'm gonna have a conversation with him, but we learned yesterday about the term being up, and then we learned this morning about what we needed to do. And I'll reach out to Mayor Bibb, and I think it's a good idea because she's actually the only person representing that particular area, and we don't have anyone else listed under education as of now. And then that would lend itself to consistency, her being able to interface and educate the persons that we're going to be appointing. So that, transitioning that work. Any objections to that?
No, ma'am, Madam Chair.
Okay. And we hope you feel better, and we know you're going to pass the bar. So we're all sending you great, great thoughts that way. And we are very, very proud of you. Very proud.
You got this, Queen.
You got it. Okay. Any new business? Thanks, everyone. I think we have a list of things to do. I'm gonna sit and send you my notes, Madam Secretary, and then we'll move forward on the other things and be communicating with you. Okay. The meeting is formally adjourned. It's 10:34.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thanks, everyone. Appreciate you.
Stay safe and healthy.
Bye. Dr. Bradley, please text me.
Oh, I can't. Can you, dear? Can you? I can't. I can't take the number. Can you just text me and we just start from there? So sorry.
Sure.
I don't
I'll send it to you. I'll send it to you, Shamika. I'll send you her information right now.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Okay. I'll connect the two of you right now.
Perfect.
Okay. Thank you, Madam Chair.
I'll text you. Okay. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Have a great day.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.